circling back to the idea of myths, if you have a flood that's 500 million cubic feet per second, you're talking about a flood that could completely wipe out thousands of square miles of landscapes, pre-existing land, and everything that was there. Now, if you have people that, by whatever means, either because they planned for it or just by the luck of the draw, they survived. In many cases, there was a paucity of witnesses simply because the events we're talking about were so extreme that people who were there to witness it didn't survive. But in some cases, they clearly did. In some, idiosyncratic situations, they survived in order to tell the tale. Well, what would happen? Like one of the great meltwater flows coming off of the ice sheet at the end of the last ice age, both just before and after the Younger Dryas period, which lasted from roughly 12,900 to 11,600 years ago. Those floods came down and they were augmented beyond the current flow of Mississippi by hundreds of times. If you look at Google Earth or Google Maps, you can actually see that the flow, when you get to the southern states, was 100 miles wide. In fact, if you look at a map, you can pull up Google Maps, and go to terrain view, go to satellite view rather. You look at the city of Memphis, which is western Tennessee, and the city of Little Rock. They're separated by 100 miles. They're both on bluffs, and those bluffs were the banks of this ancient, gigantic meltwater river. Now, if you were a witness and you were on one of those bluffs looking out, all you would see, as far as the eye could see, would be a sea of mud with thousands of icebergs stranded in it. And as far as you could tell, the whole world that you knew before this event was gone. And you would have no basis to judge what might remain in other parts of the continent or other parts of the world. And for all you know, your world had been destroyed. So anything that you pass on, it takes on that form of total world destruction. So that's how we have to understand it in a scientific sense. You know, the believers in floods, giant, like the biblical flood, assumed that it was supernatural, that the waters rose above the highest mountains and then supernaturally disappeared. Now, the scientific community has rejected that model simply because it's unscientific. There's no evidence to explain where the water would come from, where it would go.